Welcome, everybody. My name is Lori Longsham Henderson. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing for Modern Storage Media. I will be the moderator for the PTI webinar titled Introducing the AP1 Plus Smart Keypad. PTI Security Systems is a perennial global leader in access control with a legacy of forward-thinking solutions designed to provide owners and operators with increased automation capabilities to maximize efficiencies and provide greater net operating income. Founded in 1979 and based out of Kensaw, Georgia, PTI has been producing access control and security devices for the self-storage industry, and more recently has won awards for best technology as well as best support. Today, PTI is known for its line of gate-to-door access control products, including StoreLogic, Cloud, AP1, ProEdge, and more. Today's speakers are Charlie Hagendrup and Nathan Davenport. Charlie has been with PTI Security Systems for nearly 3 years, where he currently serves as Senior Mechanical Engineer. Originally brought on to lead the development and launch of the ProEdge Smart Latch, Charlie has since applied his forward-thinking approach to the AP1 Plus, helping shape a new and enhanced tenant experience. His work continues to drive hardware innovation and shape the future of PTI's product offerings. Nathan leads the research, development, and implementation of PTI Security System solutions as their Chief Technology Officer. With years of experience in his role, Nathan has driven innovations and impact every aspect of access control ecosystems for operators. He has been a key champion in the successful development and rollout of products like ProEdge, AP1, StoreID, and more. We will be having a Q&A after the webinar, so please feel free during the webinar to ask questions in the chat box. And then we'll be addressed in the Q&A portion. Now, without further ado, here is Charlie Hagendrup and Nathan Davenport. Gentlemen, you have the floor.
Excellent. Thank you, Lori. Appreciate it.
Okay.
So I guess let's talk about the agenda real quick. As Lori mentioned, we want to get your questions. So we're very eager to get feedback. We're eager to find out, what you find interesting, just what you think about this product in general. I'll also start by saying, and I'll cap it at the end by saying we're going to be in SSA's trade show next week in Vegas. So we will be demoing this product live, where you can see it in action. So today we're going to go ahead and give an overview of the AP1 Plus. What is this? We're going to talk about high-level introduction, key features, but also tie it into main use cases from an operations standpoint. We're not throwing a bunch of features at you. We want to show you why that matters, why you should care. We're also going to give an overview of our current next-gen keypads versus our legacy keypads. There's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of improvements in tech as well. So we want to make sure we touch on that. We'll talk a little bit about how you remotely can troubleshoot this new product. Maybe some basic installation questions, and then we'll go straight into FAQs and Q&A. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump right into the first slide here. So let's talk about the AP1 Plus. Let's start with the name. What does AP stand for? It stands for its functional purpose, right? It's an access point. Back in May of 2024, we released the predecessor to this product called the AP1. We'll show some comparisons between that and this new version in a couple of slides Charlie presents on. But wanted to just show that this is an actual picture of the product. This is what you'll see next week at the trade show. It is a very sleek looking product because it's the first piece of technology that customers will interact with when they approach your gate. This is really meant for outside the facility. It's vandal resistant. It's 2mm stainless steel. So we wanted to make sure that this would stand up to the test of time in very harsh environments. I will start with saying that this is a seamless and secure product though. We use Bluetooth. We're using the latest encryption methods from Bluetooth. It also is long range, right? So we have the ability to set this to hands-free mode or actually require a manual swipe on the phone. but it does integrate directly with our new mobile app Store ID. And there's a lot of flexibility on the range as well. So you could set the range to 100%. So, customers driving up in a car don't have to roll the window down. They can just, approach the gate. Once the proximity, or they're within the proximity range, they are authenticated and go straight on their way. So we want to make sure everything we do is pairing with seamless access, but also very secure. We don't want to trade off one for the other. You'll also notice the OLED display. Compared to our legacy keypads, we had 2-line and 4-line displays. So very limited in how you could communicate with customers. Here we have the ability to upload custom logos. So you could have your custom logo for your brand. You can also have custom messages per tenant. So as tenants approach the gate, if one is typing in their access code and we know who they are, we can actually personalize custom access or messages to those tenants. So a lot of flexibility from that standpoint. We also have an ability for Store ID only mode. We had a use case from a customer where nefarious people were across the street with a telescope watching people punch in an access code, and they would actually write it down, come back to the site after hours and use the same access code and gain entry. And it seemed, if you looked at the event log, nothing seemed amiss. So we have the ability to actually force people to use Store ID after hours, which is a nice security feature as well. One of the big things here that you'll notice is that we have a video intercom on the right-hand side. So you can see it's a brand new video intercom with IP-based SIP and OnViv integration. You don't have to get hung up on those acronyms because really what this means is it's open sourced. So you have the ability to plug this into your normal CCTV operation. You can record 24/7 streams from the camera, or you could just integrate it into your actual operation of call centers, etc. We're going to dig into those use cases here in just a minute, so I'll save that for a few minutes later. Additionally, we have firmware updates. This is huge these days. If it's a cloud-based product, you need to be able to update it with new features while the customer's asleep, right? They don't have to know about the update. Of course, we want to be transparent and show them when we do, but the point is it should not impact operations when you update one of these new pieces of tech, right? So we have that ability with our cloud controller. The AP1 does as well. We also have heated backlit RGB touchpad. There's a lot in that line, so let me unpack it here. We have a heater in these. We have a heated and non-heated version. So if you're in the north and you know that you need, you're going to probably face some ice and snow that might, jam up the keys in the wintertime. We have a heated keypad that kicks on when it drops below a certain threshold. So you don't have to set anything manually yourself. It just automatically does it. The RGB comes into play because it's red, green, blue. And with that mixture, with different variations, you can basically get any color palette that you want. So we have some basic default colors. For example, if it's a granted entry access, the backlighting turns green. If it's denied, it turns red. So of course, these are obvious things, but it's another level of intuition that we're adding to this keypad. I mentioned 2mm stainless steel. We want to make a statement when someone pulls up and they see, wow, this is a secure facility. This seems like a secure operation just based on that first interaction. And then we want it to be maintainable, right? We want to be able to do a lot of maintenance and troubleshooting remotely. We'll talk about that in a minute. And we want to be able to service it very easily. So one of the new features we have here is it's on a hinge, right? The old Apex, you would have to hold it in your hand or let it hang by the ground wire. Neither of those are good options. So from a dealer integrator perspective, they have that very easy serviceability as well. So I have been talking a long time. I'm going to let my co-host, Charlie, dig into the next.
Yes, thank you very much. Great. So we just have a list here of the AP1 Plus key features. The AP1 Plus features the next generation of Bluetooth, like Nathan mentioned. It's both safe and reliable for self-storage keypads because it uses strong encryption to protect access. It operates completely independently of Wi-Fi or cellular coverage. and it maintains a stable low power connection that's proven in millions of devices worldwide. So in short, it gives tenants confidence that their belongings are safe, and it gives the operators a dependable system that won't break if the internet is down. We've also integrated a 2-megapixel camera with infrared lights. This allows the AP1 Plus to capture clear images even in bad lighting conditions, which ensures reliable monitoring both during the day but also during the night and bad lighting conditions. The infrared light is invisible to the human eye, so you cannot see it during the night when it activates, and thereby it will not disturb customers, but it will just provide a consistent visibility for the security. The AP1 Plus, as Nathan mentioned, is ONLIF compliant, which basically means it's an open standard that makes it possible for security cameras and other systems from different manufacturers to work together and talk to each other. So you're not tied up to a certain manufacturer. So in short, it gives better security coverage without disrupting customers, and it ensures that the AP1 Plus is easy to integrate with other security solutions. Last year, our AP1 keypad came out with a groundbreaking clamshell chassis, and now we have actually improved the clamshell chassis even further for the new AP1 Plus. It makes it very, very easy for installers to do maintenance and installation of the units, and it also allows for very quick maintenance. The AP1 Plus enclosure also allows for conduits to be run underneath the units in both sides of the keypad. And because the way the hinges that you can see on this picture is designed, that basically means that if you run the wires or conduits from below, you will not have an issue when you open up the keypad with the conduits, because it's just a front plate that will open up, not the complete chassis. The AP1 Plus is also equipped with a SIP, or Session Initiation Protocol intercom system. That's a long word there, which is a standard used to set up and manage voice and video calls over the internet. It's basically what enables devices like intercom or VoIP phones to communicate reliably with each other. The intercom has noise reduction capabilities and obviously crystal clear audio. And I should also mention that the intercom/camera is powered directly via PoE, power over Ethernet. So it's just one Ethernet cable that you plug in there that provides power and data transfer and everything for that part. Yes, and so in short, this makes customer assistance very easy and dependable, while keeping the AP1 Plus very simple and cost-effective to deploy, and also to switch out if there's a problem. And last but not least, the AP1 Plus features dual inputs/outputs, which enables operators to control what they want with the keypad. So that could be you want to control a gate and a siren at the same time, or a motion sensor or detector, or anything else. So there's two to every keypad. Yes.
Yeah, very good. And I would say one additional use case on that last point is the position of the gate, right? You can tell the position of your gate. Sometimes when you fire a relay and try and manually open the gate from the software, you're just kind of guessing if it's actually open or not. So with this input, the two inputs here, that's another use case, right? Tell if it's actually open or actually closed. Okay, well, let's keep on moving. Thank you, Charlie. Let's talk about how we would practically implement this into an operation. We have 3 examples. These are not all the examples by far, just the 3 that seem to be the most interesting to me. So we'll start with the first one here. This is really perfect in a scenario where you have a hub and spoke model operation. So you have maybe less managers than you do properties. And I know that's been a fad, going all the way to fully remote to sort of somewhere in the middle. So just depending on your operation, we'll have a use case for you. But in this case, you could actually run the video call directly to a manager's phone. What I would say from the very beginning is we're the manufacturer. We are not the expert on integrating camera systems. The integrators that are PTI certified are the experts, and you should absolutely rely on their expertise and probably creativity on how you could use these open protocols. But again, these are some of the ways that you could do it. So this would be as simple as setting up a service and actually having this call go directly to a manager's phone. So a very interesting use case. And one of the reasons for this would also be, verifying the person is who they're saying they are at the camera. Customers forget their access codes all the time because they're randomly generated. They don't pick their own access code. So in that case, you would want to verify that John Smith is John Smith. Okay, can I see your valid license? Your driver's license. And so that would just be one quick and easy way to justify that. But this is a really exciting one. This is the use case we're going to show at SSA next week. So look forward to seeing a lot of people stop by the booth then. For the more sophisticated operations, the bigger operations, especially the REITs, for example, they often have their own internal call center. So they have a structure where they route calls. They have a specialized team to answer these kind of problems, maybe even open a gate for someone remotely. This would be a perfect use case to have these as simple as pressing the button for a new prospective tenant and then talking directly to an agent on the phone. And again, you want to sort of vet the people that are renting from you, right? It is harder to do these days when you're using marketing websites, but in general, you still want to have that connection with people. And so having that video really goes a long way for your own your own peace of mind. So call center would be another really, really popular one. And then finally, probably the one that's the most popular would be for really anybody. This is a desk station that you can set up for free, right? You purchase any generic phone with a video, and for free, you don't have to have any subscription or anything. You can actually run the video to these phone stations. One good one you can look up is called GrandStream. And you could Google that and see a lot of different variations of that. But basically, anything that has a phone and an IP VoIP telecom system could integrate directly into this. So some of the ones that we didn't bring up as well are, just a generic phone call. You could actually have the camera streaming 24/7, recording into your MVR, and when someone presses the button, it's a generic phone call to your management team. You can set up an escalation tree. So if Jane is unavailable, it goes to the assistant manager, and then so on and so on. And it just continues to ring until the end of the tree. So again, lots of flexibility with this camera system. These are just the tip of the iceberg. And I will caveat it one more time. Get with your integrators. They are the experts. They're the security experts of our industry, right? So you want to make sure that you consult with them on how you would implement this into your operation. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Charlie for this next slide. I believe it's a PTI keypad comparison.
Yes, that is correct, Nathan. Thank you. Yes, so we try to just kind of outline the different differences between the AP1 Plus, the AP1, the Apex, and the VP standard. And as some of you know, our legacy keypads, they are 15 to 20 years old. So they are being phased out for the new ASA Abloy technology product line, which is the AP1 and the AP1 Plus. We've kind of tried to divide it into new tech on the left here and older tech on the right. So looking at the comparison table here, it kind of sets a brief overview. So, for example, for the display, the AP1 Plus has a high resolution OLED display with custom graphics, as mentioned earlier, and it's much more advanced than the monochrome displays that we have on the VP standard and the Apex. So that's a huge upgrade. For connectivity, the AP1 Plus supports Bluetooth, as mentioned earlier, together with the AP1. It also supports over-the-wire updates and also cloud connectivity. And this gives it much more flexibility in terms of usage for tenants, but also much easier maintenance than the Apex and the VP standard. For monitoring and configuration, the AP1 Plus and the AP1 as well includes voltage monitoring and remote configuration, which the VP standard and Apex lack. Nathan will dive a bit more into that in a couple of slides here, why this could be important for you guys to know a bit about. And then for security and integration, the AP1 Plus has the on-live camera and SIP-based intercom, which enables a full digital audio video capability, something that is not offered by the other models, which were analog. And with the on-live, as mentioned, and SIP, it's open protocol, right? I should also outline that even though Nathan and I say open protocol, it's still secure. So it's not like anyone can just, dive into your tap into your SIP server or your line and just watch the video. It's not like that. It just makes it much easier for basically all integrators to work with, and also to work with any SIP compliant phone or on-live compliant camera system. The AP1 Plus also supports an optional heated keypad, which is very useful in cold environments. I'll dive a bit more into that during the later slides, so hang in tight there. Yeah, so that was some of the general stuff on this slide here. Generally, the AP1 Plus adds many more and newer features. And these features is not just features, it's features that makes it much easier for you as an operator to operate your facility. It increases the security for the tenants, and it's really the top of the line for access control.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. Why don't you give us a comparison between AP1 Plus and AP1? I think there's a lot of questions about this.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Well, so the AP1 Plus is basically built on the foundation of the AP1, but we've taken things a step further. So basically, we took a lot of the learnings from the AP1 and got a lot of valuable feedback from customers, integrators, slash installers, tenants, all of our customers, you could say. And we basically took that feedback and said, well, how can we improve the AP1 to make the AP1 Plus even better? So one of the things was to add a two-way intercom and a digital video camera, which would make it possible to see and talk to customers directly at the keypad, which enhances the customer experience. We also looked into the chassis, so that has been redesigned with a clamshell style for easier maintenance. And it's also modular, so the design is modular, which makes servicing much simpler. As you saw on one of the earlier slides, basically when you open this up, it's very, very simple to service. The front plate that you see here on the AP1 Plus on the left-hand side here can basically be removed with 4 nuts on the inside. So if something goes wrong, you don't necessarily need to take off the complete unit. And this makes it very, very easy to perform maintenance in the field. And for operators, well, cost goes down, and for the installer, effectiveness goes up. And as we have highlighted before, every outside component in metal is made in marine grade stainless steel. We have done thorough testing on this as well, and corrosion testing and such, to make sure that this keypad can be standing all the way up in Alaska or all the way down in Florida, and still look as good as it does in this picture. Yes, I think that was about it.
Excellent. And just to double double tap on what you had said about the replacement faceplate. So we can offer a separate SKU for a replacement part, and it's the full faceplate, which comes with everything you see, right? It's the whole keypad operation, the video intercom, all on one. So if you have some issue in the field, of course, we hope that never happens, but just devil's advocate, you want a quick and easy way to replace it. You don't have to sit there with the different components or the PCB. You have the whole thing that you can just snap back into place. All right. Well, continuing down on the sort of troubleshooting diagnostic phase, I wanted to talk a little bit about what you can do. And this is true with AP1 Plus and AP1. I don't think many people know this about the AP1. You have a lot of telemetry at your fingertips in StoreLogic's cloud. You can see with these AP1 family voltage, right? You can see the current voltage, the minimum and maximum voltages. So those are minimum and maximum since it was rebooted last. Very, very important. So you don't have to roll a truck out and actually, connect two wires and measure voltage in person. That is very costly and can just be a waste of time in many cases. Firmware version, as I said, these are all upgradable over the wire. So knowing that you're on the latest firmware version is always a nice thing to see remotely. A couple other things, we have a factory passcode. So historically when you would buy a PTI keypad, you would type in the factory standard passcode. In the manual, it would always say to change that before you leave, but most people just didn't think about it. So that passcode floated around a little bit, right? And so you want the ability to actually set the passcode remotely. You don't have to do it in person anymore. So you can actually see right here on the screen that you have the ability to set up the passcode. It pushes from the cloud down to the cloud controller and then straight over the wire to the keypads. So that's just another example. You have tamper rules you can adjust remotely, date and time formats, which is critical in international customers. Relay rules, you can decide what defines door being held open is. Is it when it's propped open for 30 seconds or 2 minutes? All that can be configured within the software. So this is just 8 points that I pulled out quick. There's probably 20 or 30 different configuration pieces. So go in and check it out if you get a chance, if you have an AP1. But again, this applies to the AP1 and AP1 Plus. And real quick, I wanted to touch on the installation requirements, like what is required for the AP1 Plus in general. First and foremost, you have to have the cloud controller. That's our latest controller. It's the black one that you see in the picture right there. You also then, of course, need StoreLogic's cloud. So this is not going to provide you all the bells and whistles on the desktop software. You won't get Bluetooth. You won't be able to leverage the video intercom. There's a whole lot of things you wouldn't have access to, right? So you need the cloud software and you need the cloud controller. Power, that's a big topic, right? So on the keypad side, we sort of mentally divide this into two, right? The keypad side and the video intercom side. On the keypad side, you use your standard 18.4 wiring. So whatever you already have hooked up to a VP or Apex works perfectly. The only additional thing you would need, and Charlie mentioned this, is the power over Ethernet cable, right? It's an Ethernet cable, and it's also data and power. If you don't have that, that's perfectly fine. There are ways around that. There's also a 12-volt power supply that you could plug into the video intercom and just run Ethernet to it instead. So a lot of flexibility. Again, talk with your integrators. They do this all the time. They'll show you exactly how to make it work. Then, of course, we had those acronyms, right? SIP and ONVIV. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what that means. It's open protocol. Any system you're using today that's IP-based, this will integrate perfectly with what you have. Talk to your integrators. They'll direct you. And again, if you want to ask more detailed questions, we certainly can talk to you in person next week in Las Vegas. And then finally, the CCTV system, right? You can record this 24/7. It doesn't have to just be when someone presses the button. But again, the flexibility is there. It's all your decision. All right. So I think we have a couple of FAQs we're going to bring up real quick that Charlie is going to give us a little breakdown on. And then I think we'll go straight to Q&A, Lori, after that.
All right.
Yeah, so this slide and the next slide is a couple of facts that we just kind of put up here, questions that we've been asked by our customers before. I'm not going to go through all of this. I'm just going to take the first one and the last one. So the first one: how does the heated keypad work, and what is the operating temperature of that of the unit of that unit? So the operating temperatures are similar for both versions, so there's no difference there. The heated version basically allows for the keypad to operate seamlessly in cold environments. Since it will warm up slightly the touchpad, or the keypad, and that will avoid any freezing of buttons. And I should also mention that it's equipped with a sensor that only activates the heating if the temperature drops below a certain threshold. So it's not like the touchpad will be warm all the time. It will only start to warm up when the temperature drops. Yeah, and also it will not be super hot or anything. It's just to make sure that if it rains and freezes, that the buttons will not freeze over and you're not able to punch in the code. I should also mention that in order to actually avoid this issue, just use Store ID, swipe the app, and then you're ready to go. The last one here: can I still record video without a CCTV or NVR system with the AP1 Plus? Yes, you can. So the OnVIF and the camera has something that's called RTSP. So basically, you can take this feed directly, and you could hook it up to, for example, direct to software on a PC server. So programs like VLC, the video LAN, you'll have Blue Iris or ZoneMinder. These programs can record RTSP streams directly. It's very, very simple to set up. You also have point-to-point. So as Nathan mentioned with the Gram stream earlier, or any other SIP compliant phone, it just needs to be SIP compliant. So basically, you have the IP address of the AP1 Plus, and you have the IP address of the phone. Then you could set up a line directly between these two, and both you could use both to call each other basically. So if you do that with the Grand Stream, for example, anytime someone presses the button on the AP1 Plus keypad, the phone will ring. There's also NAS, network attached storage, and also cloud recording services. Yes. Here, I'm just going to talk a bit about the question: do I need to send the entire unit in if it requires service? And no, as we mentioned before, the new clamshell is introduced here on the AP1 Plus, which makes it very, very easy to replace the whole front plate. 4 bolts, and then off you go. You get just a new front plate. You put it on, put in the 4 bolts, and obviously put in the wires, and you're good to go. And also the question: will the AP1 Plus work with my Falcon XT or desktop software? Yes, it will work, but it will work like an Apex keypad basically. So you will not have the Bluetooth capabilities basically. Yeah.
Or the remote diagnostics or firmware updates.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you for that, Charlie. I think there's a lot here. I know, Lori, you had mentioned you're going to send this out afterwards, so there's probably a lot of reading to do for the attendees. Real quick, I wanted to make one offering. We're only going to bring this up once for webinar attendees. AP1 Plus pre-orders through September 19th. This valid is going to be valid. And so you will actually be able to order it with a discounted price. Call our actual sales representatives, right? They'll be able to talk you through all the benefits and the details. We're going to cut that off at 5 Eastern on the 19th. Again, we can talk in depth next week. We're going to be at the booth B435. So swing on by, you'll see the live demo. We'll talk to you about the offering as well. And I guess with that, Lori, do you want to fire away some questions?
Yes, we have quite a few.
All right.
First one is it true that you have recently stopped selling legacy equipment, including keypads, controller boards, etc.?
Yeah, great question. Actually, I really like this one. There's been a lot of misconceptions in the market, I think, since we've made these announcements. Often this is done to confuse the market rather than to be totally honest. So I want to hit the question straight on. Yes, there are products that are 15 to 20 years old, as Charlie said, that we're retiring. They no longer are up to the security. You can't update firmware. That's a huge requirement these days remotely. Of course, there are components that we struggle to even find to build these products. So there are many reasons why it no longer makes sense for us to maintain them. But mostly, we want to be offering new products every year, every 3 years. We want to keep on the leading edge of technology. Not to say we would end of life every 3 years, but we haven't done it in 20 years. So we're trying to find the balance, and we need to be offering the most secure and most seamless products. And so that was really the reason for that decision. But everything you get these days, of course, is much more flexible. There's a lot more value there. And the question about warranties, I would say if you have a product that's in warranty, and something happens to it that's being end of life, then we will replace with the new products. We'll replace your old product that's still in warranty with no questions asked. So that's a win-win, right? We get the legacy equipment out of the market, and you also get brand new functionality at no additional cost to you. So call us with the questions. We want to talk to you about the options. But thank you, Lori. That's a good one to touch on first.
There's another question. Can the AP1 be personalized like AP1 Plus can?
Yes. So if you go through the default messages screen in StoreLogix, both the AP1 and AP1 Plus have that option. There are multiple customers that have requested custom logos, so we can do that as well. Just reach out to anybody at PTI and we can talk you through the options, but both can be.
Okay, the next one is, you mentioned that the intercom camera is IP based and driven via PoE. Great. Can the AP1 Plus be driven via PoE? We would love the ability to simply toggle PoE power on a switch to reboot a keypad that's struggling.
Charlie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so like Nathan mentioned before, the intercom is PoE, but the AP1 part of the AP1 Plus is RJ485, RS485, sorry.
RS45, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's basically the difference. I mean, you would be able to toggle off the intercom if and camera, but not the AP1 part of the AP1 Plus, so to say.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there was a second part to this, looks like. Follow up. If we can't power the keyboards via PoE, do we have the ability to tell the keypad to reboot itself over the RS485 Compass? I just like the ability to restart a keypad without rolling a service truck. Let me know what is possible.
Got it. I'll have to explore that option. Honestly, I don't know the answer off the bat. Charlie, do you have any idea?
No, I mean, you could definitely you could do it on the intercom part of it.
Right.
That's pretty easy. I mean, you could even pull the plug for PoE, but you could also do it basically via your computer if you're on the same local area network, and you could do that from your office. You just need to be on the same network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a feature request. So reach out
Yeah.
to us and we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Cool. The next one is, does Store ID app have to be used? We only give the app to our motorhome and after-hour customers.
No. So we have the flexibility there for the touchpad. So it's an option. I think there are secure reasons for offering it. As I mentioned before, codes can be stolen, codes can be guessed. If you aren't in control of the codes you give to your tenants, go out and type in 1964 and you're probably gonna get into the gate. So there's a lot of reasons why Store ID makes sense, but no, it's not a requirement.
Okay. The next question. We currently use the VP standard 2-wire to use the AP1 or AP1 Plus. Would we need to run more wires?
Charlie, you want to take that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you have the VP standards, then you can use the same wiring for the AP1 part of the AP1 Plus. You would need, in order to utilize the intercom, you would need to run an Ethernet cable.
Yeah.
Or yeah, so the Ethernet cable, you can run that directly to the intercom and basically use power over Ethernet. So you would need an adapter to make sure you can provide power. If you cannot do that, then we also have a 12 volts backup, you could say, in the intercom. So in that case, you would need to plug in a power adapter to power it up, and then you would need an Ethernet cable for data transfer. So in short, if it was me, I would definitely go for the PoE. You could just buy these adapters everywhere that provides power, and then run an Ethernet cable. It's just basically an internet cable. You know, the square internet cables. You just need to run that out to the existing keypads, and that's basically it.
Okay. The next one is the camera analog or IP?
It's IP. It's
IP. Yep.
yeah.
Next question. What is the cost and availability for each keypad?
So we're not announcing the pricing today. If you want to find out today, you can certainly call our team. So your sales rep that you're used to speaking with, just give them a call. And they'll be able to talk to you about the pricing and also the discount from the webinar today.
Okay, next question. Some of my customers are having hard time viewing AP1 old in direct sunlight. Any way to change the light text on the black background or at least brightness setting?
Great question. So we actually can update. We've got that feedback from several customers about high noon, specific angle. It's harder to see some of the lettering. So we actually were able to boost the display brightness with a firmware update. So I don't know if this is connected to the cloud or if it's on desktop, but it sounds like we need to update the firmware to resolve that issue.
Okay, next one is what drove PTI to create the AP1 Plus?
Yeah, I think Charlie's table that showed the comparisons between the newer generation products versus the old. You know, the Apex is what was typically used outside of buildings, right? It was a thicker gauge metal. It did have a camera and an intercom. It was older technology. Just to get into the weeds a little bit, it was LEF intercom with a base station and analog cameras, right? So not great for either. They're like 70s technology. So we wanted to come out with something that was on the leading foot and also be very open and flexible with the camera systems that people are using today. So that's why we want to position this as a premium keypad. It's the statement piece when people interact first with your facility, and it provides a lot of flexibility all in one enclosure.
Okay, can the AP1 Plus be used with other manufacturers' systems?
No. So the PTI keypad itself is, of course, isolated to the cloud controller and the cloud software. The video intercom again, it's open, right? So that part you can pipe anywhere you want, but you wouldn't get the value out of the keypad. So it's a isolated to a PTI system keypad.
Okay, last question. Can the AP1 Plus be used? Oh, no, what kind of data does AP1 Plus capture and how does it process the data?
Charlie, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. So I could definitely take the intercom part of it. So the intercom, the intercom that consists of the microphone, speaker, the button, and the camera. That information that you capture there is not sent to us, so PTI cannot see it. The point of the camera system is basically for the operator to use that locally. So the plan here was basically that we set it up with, or the installer set it up with the local NVR system for the operator, or they just use, as we mentioned, a point-to-point. So you have the camera on the intercom, and then you have a phone, a SIP compliant phone, and you press the button and that's it. So there's basically there's no camera there's no data being transferred from the camera to PTI or anything. So everything there is locally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for the AP1, Nathan, maybe you can explain a bit what we capture there.
Yeah, it's just the basic user information. So the access code and the tenant name and if they're allowed on the property during that time frame. So it's very minimal data. And of course, when it's vacated in the system and it's identified to be deleted, we hold it for 30 to 90 days, and then we completely purge the system of that information. And that's a requirement that's an international requirement really from GDPR, if you're familiar with that. So we're very specific about how we handle the data, and if it's not useful, we don't want to own it or control it whatsoever.
All right, we have time for one last one. Will playback of video have audio?
So I guess you're referring to, is the NVR recording audio with video? Charlie, I don't actually know that answer.
Yeah, I mean, you can you get both audio and video there. So if you're using, for example, an RTSP feed, I believe you're able to get both. Yes. And the reason for saying is because I've tried a couple of times here at home where I'm sitting, because it's so close to my computer when I'm fumbling around with it, that it echoes, right, and then it becomes louder and louder and louder. So yes, that's you can do that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all the time we have on Q&A. So all other questions will be passed on to the PTI team, and they will answer directly on their end. So I want to thank you all very much for attending this webinar. Modern Storage Media is also extending a 20% off any MSM product using checkout code MSNWEB25. For more information about PTI security systems, please scan their QR code. And lastly, if you or others would like to see the webinar, it will be housed on our website at modernstoragemedia.com under the video podcast tab. So thank you all again very much for attending the webinar, and have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.